Hey, how's it going? Today I'm talking about the finisher framework, part 8, putting it all together.
This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury-prone Run Disney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line.
So now we've gone through all of the different parts of the finisher framework. We have the build part and we have the support part. The build part has training and strength to build your strength, your endurance, make progress towards your goals of being able to cross the finish line at your Run Disney race. Then you have the support side, which are the things that will help balance it out so that you don't get injured. Those are things like stretching, rest days, recovery techniques with your temperature and your massage-based techniques, your fueling, hydration, shoes, and other equipment. All of them need to be balanced out for you to make progress so that you don't get injured, you stay motivated, you don't lose consistency, and you can cross the finish line without feeling broken. But how do you put it all together? So I'm going to walk you through how to put it together and start choosing what things you need to be doing. If at any time you want personalized guidance for this, that's what we do in Stronger, Faster, Finisher. But I made this podcast because I really want all runners to be able to continue running for as long as they want, well into their 80s if they want, or their 90s if they want. I want all runners, no matter their pace, their size, to be able to cross that finish line, not get swept by the balloon ladies, and be able to enjoy the parks for the rest of the weekend. So I would love to have you join me in Stronger, Faster, Finisher, but I would love even more if you crossed that finish line, whether you worked with me or not. So that's why this podcast exists. That's why I'm walking you through step by step through this framework. Some people will be able to take this and run with it, no pun intended. Others will need more personalized guidance. I totally get that. So let's get into putting it all together. So when we look at it, I recommend looking at training first, because above all else, you need to train to be able to even participate in the race, right? Whether that's walking, or running, you need to put in time on your feet. So look at training first. Figure out, based on what race you're running, whether it be a 5K, 10K, half marathon, 2-course challenge, springtime 3-course challenge, goofy, dopey, the marathon. Figure out, based on what race you are running, when you should start. If you have downloaded my free training plans, it gives you the start date right on there. Start there. Figure out your start date. Figure out where you're doing your long run, your cross training, your other workouts. Bare minimum, you should be doing long run and two other training workouts, whether that be speed workouts, walking, cross training like biking, spin class, things like that. Bare minimum 3, and then bare minimum 2 rest days. If you're doing 3 training days, the rest of the week can be rest days. Look at that. Figure out what day of the week you are going to do your long run. If that's all you can do, great. Do that. If you can't add in strength yet, no problem. Add that in later. Include recovery techniques. I think everybody should have some form of recovery routine, including stretching, a temperature-based, and a massage-based. Even if you can only do it for a couple of minutes, that would be better than nothing. That's bare minimum. But when we're looking at this, since you're listening to this podcast, you probably are already doing at least bare minimum and want to do more. You see, oh, you should do strength training. Oh, you really need to do all this stretching routine. Oh, you need these best shoes. You need to go get massages. You need to fuel all of this way. How do you put it all together? How do you know what works for you? Take it step by step. So you started with the training and then you added in the recovery. Then, if you have all of that covered, look at what your goals are, or look at if you're having injuries or pains. Look at the type of injury or pain you're having. You might need to include cross training to build more endurance. Let's say you're huffing and puffing and it just feels like your breathing just isn't right. Look at your speed. Look at the pace you're doing. If you're already going the slowest pace you can and you're still huffing and puffing, you feel like you just can't catch your breath when you're training, you may have to include cross training to supplement to further improve your cardiovascular fitness. So you may go that way. Or what if you're somebody who it just feels like you want more power? You want to go faster. Your breathing's fine, but you want to go faster. Well, you might consider including strength exercises because those can improve your power and your speed. And then how do we look at the shoes and equipment we're using? So if you're starting to get symptoms that you weren't having before, and your training hasn't changed, you're doing the recovery techniques that you should be, you're doing the stretching that you should be in the right amount, then we start looking at shoes and equipment. Have we changed something? Did we just get new shoes? Or how old are our shoes? Whether mileage wise or how many years have we had them? So we start looking at the different aspects. But I recommend don't change everything all at once. Ease into it and take little bits at a time. Because if you change everything at once, you change your training, you change your strength, you change your stretching. If something goes haywire, we don't know what caused it. So then you're going to have to stop everything and add them back in one at a time to see what caused the problem and where your body feels happy with what you're doing. So change one thing at a time. So we're starting with training. Then we may add in cross training. Then we may add in strength. Then we may add in new stretches or longer stretches. Or maybe we're adding in a hot Epsom salt bath instead of just a heating pad. Maybe we're trying Hoka shoes instead of New Balance. But we change one thing at a time. And we start off, I recommend always looking at your training first before adding in anything else. That should be your first. That's what I look at when my clients come in, Stronger, Faster, Finisher. I have so many questions about their training. How did their training go last race? What did the first month or 2 months look like for their training last time? At what point did you start getting pain? What did your training look like when you started getting pain? I look at training first, and I recommend you look at training first as well. Look at training first for when you're first starting out, and look at training first when things aren't going well. And then we start looking elsewhere. Training, stretching, recovery, temperature-based, massage-based, strength, shoes, fueling, hydration. And I actually look at shoes last. I don't know why I named that in the beginning. That's just how it's written. But shoes, I actually look at shoes absolutely last. That is way, way, way down on my list. And if you listen to all of these episodes, you heard me say that I talk about shoes earlier in the framework just because of how I divide it up in my head based on how I used to talk about it. I used to talk about it as the stressed system, STRESD. So E was the equipment and shoes. I don't talk about it that way anymore. I talk about it as the finisher framework. But That's ingrained in my mind. That will never change, but that's okay. That's all to say that shoes is the last thing professionally and personally I ever look at. It's usually something else. It's usually something to do on training, strength, meaning those things are doing too much too soon, or something in the recovery. Something in the recovery is not being done enough. The first line of defense, I have any client tell me in Stronger, Faster Finisher, oh, I'm having pain in my knee. That's a super common one. Runner's knee is a super common injury. IT band syndrome, super common injury. If somebody's telling me that they have pain there, I first look at, okay, what has your training been like? Now, in Stronger, Faster Finisher, I have written out exactly week by week, run by run, exactly how much you should be doing. All you have to do is follow the number that's on the screen in your app. But sometimes things go haywire and we don't follow the instructions. It might say 4.13 miles there, and you say, oh, well, I'm going to do 5 today. And so we look at that first. Typically, in Stronger, Faster Finisher, they will say, oh, yeah, I did the 4.13 miles. Okay, what was the speed? What was your pace on that? And then, okay, that looks fine. What else is going on? Was there any new strength exercises? What has the recovery technique been looking at? Have you been taking your rest days like you should be? Have you been doing a temperature based or a massage based? And if it's not overtraining, it's typically lacking in the in the temperature or the massage based techniques that they have fallen by the wayside. And that's okay. It happens. We have been trained that once something doesn't hurt, we don't need to be putting ice or heat on it. However, when we're training over and over and over again, it doesn't take much for it to build and build and build until it crosses that threshold of when something hurts. So when we're putting all of this together, start with training, do your recovery techniques, including your stretching, your temperature, and your massage-based techniques. Then start branching out, cross-training, strength, looking at your fueling and your hydration, and finally last, your shoes. Of course, we want to be wearing shoes, but you could go out in Vibrams, you could go out in Hoka, and those are wildly different types of shoes. So it's usually not the first immediate thing causing a problem. Okay, I think that sums up how to put all of this together. Remember, please take what you've learned in this episode and use it to adjust your strategy for your Run Disney race training. The finisher framework isn't just a checklist. It's a smarter way to train so you finish strong, not broken. And if you want personalized guidance specific to your race, your injury history, your running background, and your goals, that's exactly what we do inside Stronger, Faster Finisher. You'll get step-by-step instructions and a proven system to help you train smarter from start to finish. Join the waitlist today to be the first to know when it opens next. Please take what you've learned in this episode and use it to adjust your strategy for your Run Disney race training. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things in the right balance so you can finish strong, not broken. And if you want personalized guidance specific to your race, your injury history, your running background, and your goals, that's exactly what we do inside Stronger, Faster Finisher. You'll get step-by-step instructions and a proven system to help you train smarter from start to finish. Join the waitlist today to be the first to know when it opens next. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.